Hey guys, it's me Astrid, and today I just wanted to show you how to use Excel, aka the most wonderful program of all time, to categorize your orchid wish list and the orchids that you have, because maybe you don't have a method set up, and I thought, hey, why not show mine? You can do whatever you want with this information, reform it in a way that makes sense for you, whatever you wanted to do, but I just wanted to show you how to do some little basic things in Excel and show you how they relate to categorizing your orchid wishes and the orchids you have. Okay, so let's look at the wish list. What do we got here? We got categories. We got categories all along the top here. And I've just added some little notes to myself over here. So blue means I got it, and green is a high priority. And I've got the Dendrobium spectabile, or spectabile, or however you want to pronounce it. And I highlighted it blue because I did obtain one recently. Go me! But I also have the orchid's name, of course. I like to keep a picture because just having a bunch of words, I could write that on a piece of paper on my wall. But having the pictures is going to be really nice and help me keep it organized. Additionally, I have a category for price range, bloom seasons, whether or not they're a species, ease of their care, plant size, fragrance, seller, links to buy, and the size that each seller sells. You don't have to go this complex with it, but I like to. And I especially like to keep track of bloom seasons of these. Clearly I'm a little behind on it, but if there's an orchid, we have Sideria japonica, that's a free flowering orchid, so I just highlighted that it has all bloom seasons. And eventually I want orchids blooming in every month of the year for myself, so I'm trying to visually keep track of the bloom season of the orchids, just like I do over here in my regular orchids page like this. So I've got bloom season on this side too. Back to the wish list. How do I keep this wish list in check? Well, first I like to have my text in the center, so I align the text middle, and I like to have it aligned in centrally as well. I like to do that on the sides. Of course, you can use this button to put it on the left side, right side if you wrote it in Arabic or something, and the center if you wrote it here. So I like to have it lined up so it looks tidier for me. The default in Excel is to put stuff at the bottom of the square. Alright, so what do we do next? Well, there's some cool features I'm going to show you really quick. So let's add something to my wish list. What do I want? I want the Bulbophyllum medusae. I totally want one of these. So we're going to go over here and type in Bulbo medusae. Alright, so it's aligned where we want it in the box. That's good. Now I want a picture to put in here. So what I'm just going to do is do copy image. You might have to do it a little bit differently. I'm not doing copy image URL or save image, I'm doing copy. But you might have to do it differently based on what your system is. And then we're going to just paste that image right into Excel. Oh, it's kind of big. We're going to scale it down real quick. Oops. And make it the size we want. And then what we're going to do is make it extra the size we want. And ignore my fridge coming on. So what I like to do after this is read about this. It's fall and winter blooming, so I'm going to check those two boxes, fall and winter. I know because up here I organized it that way. And then I think it's a species. I'm not sure. I don't know the ease of care of the plant size. I think it's not fragrant. And the link to buy, I'm just going to copy and paste that right into Excel. It's not that fancy, but whatevs. And what size orchid do they sell? Prices start at something, so I think they'll give different size options, so I'm not going to put that in. But anyway, now we have a problem. We've got all these orchids hanging out, being orchidy, and they're not in alphabetical order. So what I do, and I don't know how to highlight just a specific group automatically, so I just put my arrow on the side and I highlight all the way up to the top, leaving out the top columns, of course, and then I just press the A to Z button. And what that did is that hopped that Bulbophylla medusae wish on my wish list right up here. It kept everything organized right in order, and now I can just scan through and see what I want alphabetically speaking, which is really cool. I'm going to highlight this green for my high priority. Let me show you this. You're just going to drop up to this format box up here, and you're just going to click this green box, or you can click one of these colorful boxes down here. But I'll just do this one because it says good. And that's a high priority orchid for me. Now let's hop over to this other side and see what I've got going on with my orchid organization of orchids I already have. To keep things reasonable, because if I just had an alphabetical list, I would be writing Brassavola and Cattleya and Dendrobium over and over again. So I separated into genera. So this is the Brassavola genera. We got a lot in the Oncidium genera or alliance, Paphiopedilums, and so on. I like to just highlight this whole thing with color, so we're just going to go, we can pick a new color for Dendrobiums. Ooh, and I'll pick this purple. You just highlight and select that and change the color. Now I have a column for what kind of orchid is it, the nickname I gave it personally. I like to give them nicknames. The data, the month I acquired it, and then the bloom season. So I can see that I have orchids that definitely bloom in every season, which is pretty cool. Then I can see if it's a species, date of last bloom. I like to have bloom duration, and on this orchid I highlighted it gray because it is now deceased. But I marked 3-week bloom duration for Miltoniopsis when the rest have 5 and 6 weeks plus. That indicated to me that it was sick and that that was abnormal. So when you keep track of the bloom duration, you might be able to detect when you have a problem going on with one of your orchids. You can check back to the last year and so on. And as the years go on, I think I will just insert little columns under each one so I can keep track of each year's progress with each orchid. Then I list the fragrance. I like to have a descriptive list. If you wanted this to not be cut off on the sides, what you're going to do is you're just going to hop over here and go to wrap text. And that will wrap the text around so that you can read it in the box size allotted. But I don't want that, so I didn't choose it. Then I have the seller that I got it from listed so I can remember who was good or bad. I have them on my naughty list. And then I keep track of who gave it to me because it's nice to have a list of who got you orchids. And as you can see, my boyfriend has gotten me 4 because he is a saint. And my mom has gotten me 2. My dad got me 3. Oh, so many gift orchids. I love it. And now the last thing I want to show you is what you can do with this bar on the top, because I didn't like scrolling up and then having this bar go away. I wanted to keep track of it. So what I did was I just went into the layout, and then I went to this little box right here, and if we highlight, it says under window, it says keep a portion of the sheet visible while the rest of the sheet scrolls. And so I chose to freeze it, so I'm going to unfreeze it. Now when I scroll down, it doesn't go together. But now I'm going to freeze the top row. This is kind of a limited feature, and you can fiddle around with it, but generally I try to keep it to the top row because it's the most practical. And then you just freeze it. It stays in place. You save your document, Command S or Control S if you're on Windows, and that's about that. If you use Windows or Mac, it's basically the same. But this is how I keep track of everything. I love Excel. I could marry Excel if it was a person, and yeah, that's how I just keep track of my orchids. For those of you who feel generous, you've seen all the orchids on my wish list. You could buy one for me and send it to me. Just kidding. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I taught you how to do 1 or 2 things in Excel that you didn't know how to do before. And if you don't use Excel, you should definitely start using Excel because it's like the best program ever. All right, ta-ta. Have a good one. Bye-bye, guys. Happy growing.